Lately I've been fielding many questions about our democratic classroom, and I'd like to help you parents out by dedicating this entire podcast to explaining the democratic ideals and the governmental system that we have employed in our classroom and that we are trying to empower our students with. Many of you have been talking about your students come home and they feel like they should have an equal say in decision making. And I want to assure you that they do have an equal say in our classroom, but within reason. They still have to look at authority. That's why we've been talking about governmental structures, because we're talking about authority and how the authority sets certain rules. And I'd also like to give them a feeling and a foundation for what our country is really about. Part of going to school is learning to be a citizen of this society. So I'm trying to help your children learn how to become active, productive, and contributing members of society in the future. And to do this, we've set our classroom up kind of like the country is run. I am the president, as always, and the students vote for Senate members and Congress members, but we only have one, and we call it like the Senate Congress, because we're teaching the kids that they can elect members who will make decisions, and hopefully those elected members, the people that you're electing, have your best interests at heart. So I'm trying to get the students to understand, voting, which is very important, especially in these early childhood preschool years when children are 3 and 4 and they're starting to understand rules. So I'm trying to give them a concept of they can vote for some rules, but I, the president, have the ultimate veto power. So we're talking about how citizens get together and can collaborate. This is a big social emotional development milestone, is collaboration with others, negotiation, compromise. Sometimes you may want a rule, but it doesn't actually work out that way because other people, you have to compromise some of the things that you want so that other kids in the classroom can have an opportunity to voice their opinions. So we're really giving students a democratic foundation for their lives. They're going to have to participate and live in a democratic society if they stay in the United States. If they don't, they'll have to learn a whole new government's way of operating. But part of my goal in this classroom is to help children come together to participate in the classroom on a small scale so that when they're older and they become adults, they can learn to participate on a larger scale. I'm trying to inspire future voters because our country is run by people we elect. So if we don't have anybody voting, there's so few that vote nowadays that the government isn't really made up of the majority, because the majority thought process, because so few people are willing to contribute and participate in our society. So I'm trying to inspire kids on a small scale to see how their vote does count, it does matter, and to encourage them in the future to try to vote and try to get their word out there. The other thing that many of you parents have brought up as a concern is civic participation. What is this, and why do we want our students to learn anything about this, especially this young? And I'd really like to talk about rights and responsibilities. Everybody has rights and responsibilities in this life. So giving children a foundation for what their rights in this world are, teaching them about respect for others and diversity, teaching them to listen to other people, and maybe if they don't agree, do some verbal combat, but not to an argumentative level or a huge disagreement, because we want to learn how we all have common bonds and we can all work together towards a common goal. So the civic participation is really giving students it's really developing social and emotional skills in our young children, because we're teaching them that what they say matters, what other people say matters, and that there's usually a middle ground that is most helpful for the students. So we try to balance between task and emotions. So some of our rules are very task-oriented, and those might be things that don't require a lot of collaboration, but some of our things may be emotion-oriented, such as like seating arrangements. I try to let the students decide. Within reason, sometimes the teacher, the president, I must step in and veto some seating arrangements. But emotionally, we want students to develop a competence to choose appropriate people to sit by, appropriate people to be in their lives, so that they can further their goals and become successful citizens of the future. That's really what my classroom is designed for, is helping students become citizens of the future. We want to do this by enforcing civic participation, really giving students a very general idea of the governmental structure in this country so they know kind of on a small scale. Students, this young preschool age students, have an idea of the president and he's a figurehead, but they may think that the president makes all the rules. And I don't want them to think that, because we are not a dictatorship, we are a democracy. I want them to know that the president was elected by us, the people, and they kind of elected me. They don't have to elect the teacher. They could elect somebody else as a president in the classroom, but really giving them an understanding of it's not just they're out of their control. The democratic way is not out of anybody's control, because it's for the people, a government by the people for the people. And this is really what I'm trying to institute in my classroom, is a classroom for the children by the children. I want them to understand some democratic values. I want them to understand how they can participate in society. I want to move them from a couple of things, removing them from rules coming from just on high, that they're just very general, somebody tells you what to do. I want them to move to rules are made by people. This is the most important thing in my classroom, is teaching them that they are not powerless, that they are powerful people and they can grow up and affect a change in the world. So really, this democratic classroom that I am instituting in your children, with your children, is teaching them that they can affect a change, that they are powerful people and they will grow up to be powerful people, powerful, informed citizens who contribute to society in positive and productive ways. So I hope that you guys have a better understanding of why we're talking about such a democratic society in our classroom, why our classroom is a democracy. If you have any more questions, feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you.